Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Wisdom Couple podcast.
Great to be here.
So today we're jumping into something that honestly feels like it's straight out of a movie, but it's becoming, well, very real. AI girlfriends.
Mhm.
Do you remember that film, Her, with Joaquin Phoenix falling for an AI? Seemed like total sci-fi back then.
Yeah, it really did. But now it's definitely not so far-fetched. The whole idea of AI companions has really taken off.
It really is. And these aren't just simple chatbots, are they? We're talking about something much more advanced.
Oh, absolutely. This is sophisticated stuff. Think machine learning, natural language processing. The goal is really to mimic or at least simulate a human connection, emotion, conversation, the whole package.
Okay, so let's try and unpack that a little. When we say AI girlfriend, what does that actually look like in practice? It's technology that learns from you, right?
Exactly. It learns from how you talk to it, what you say, maybe even how you react if the interface allows. It analyzes all that data.
And then what changes how it talks back?
Precisely. It adapts its communication style, its personality, even its expressed interests to match yours. It's constantly trying to become, your ideal conversational partner.
That's kind of wild.
It is.
Yeah.
And the speed it learns at is pretty remarkable. It's always processing, always tweaking its responses to give you that really personalized feeling.
Yeah.
Like it gets you.
And we're seeing apps pop up that do this. I've heard of Cupid AI. They have those avatars, right? Like Alex.
Yeah. Cupid AI is one example. And Replica is another big one that's been around a bit longer. And you're right. Often you can customize them.
Customize them how? Like their appearance.
Appearance, definitely. Hair color, eye color, body type.
Yeah.
But also personality traits. You can often choose if you want them to be, say, shy or outgoing or intellectual.
Wow. So you can basically design your perfect partner on the surface anyway.
That seems to be the appeal for many users, yeah. But it's not always free. That's important to remember.
Oh, right. Like Cupid AI you mentioned. They charge for stuff.
They do. Things like voice chat often cost extra. Or getting access to more intimate interactions, even digital sexy pictures, as they call them.
Okay, so there's a clear financial side to this. It's a business.
Definitely a business.
Yeah.
Which leads us to the why. Why now? Why is this gaining so much traction?
And it feels like it has to connect to this this loneliness we keep hearing about, especially among younger guys, right? There's talk of a real loneliness epidemic.
I think that's a huge factor, yeah. The statistics are pretty stark if you look at them.
What kind of numbers are we talking?
Well, data shows significantly more single men under 30 compared to single women in that same age group. And a worrying number of unmarried men say they don't have any close friends. Zero.
Wow, zero close friends. That's isolating.
Extremely. And on top of that, you see fewer single men actively, putting themselves out there looking for relationships compared to the past.
Okay, so you can kind of see the logic then. If you're feeling isolated, maybe finding human connection difficult, the idea of this AI companion that's always available.
Always responsive, always agreeable.
Yeah, always on your terms. I can see how that might seem like, well, a solution.
It offers a perceived solution, absolutely. Ready-made companionship, basically on tap. But that's where the concerns start to creep in, doesn't it?
Right. It solves one problem, but maybe creates others.
That's the worry. It's definitely not a simple picture.
One thing that seems appealing is the predictability. If maybe you struggle with social cues or you've had bad dating experiences.
Or social anxiety.
Exactly. This AI is designed to be easy, consistent. It won't ghost you. It won't argue unexpectedly. Unless maybe you programmed it to. I don't know.
Generally, no. They're designed to be validating, agreeable, predictable. And that predictability can feel safe, comfortable.
But real relationships aren't like that, are they? They're messy, unpredictable.
That's the core difference. Real human connection involves navigating disagreements, misunderstandings, compromising, all that unpredictable stuff. And frankly, that's often where growth happens.
You learn about yourself, about the other person.
Exactly. You don't get that same dynamic with an AI designed to just please you.
And this ties into that idea of the loneliness economy you hear about sometimes.
Explain that a bit.
Well, it's this concept that businesses are basically monetizing human loneliness, capitalizing on our need for connection.
And these AI girlfriend apps fit right into that mold.
Perfectly. Alongside, dating apps with their premium features or even those rent-a-friend services you see in places like Japan.
It's a market catering to a fundamental human need, but offering a sort of commodified version of it. often, as we said, for a price.
But okay, let's talk potential downsides. What are the big red flags people are raising? It can't just be about predictability being boring.
No, it goes much deeper. A major concern is, paradoxically, increased social isolation.
Wait, how isn't it supposed to combat loneliness?
In theory. But the worry is that users might substitute the AI companion for real human interaction. They spend more time with the AI, less time engaging with actual people.
And their social skills might atrophy.
Potentially, yes. If you get used to interacting with something perfectly agreeable, navigating the complexities of real people might feel harder, which could lead to more isolation, not less.
That makes a scary kind of sense. And what about expectations? If your AI girlfriend is perfect.
Exactly. How does that affect your view of real potential partners? Real people have flaws, bad moods, insecurities. An AI, especially a customizable one, is designed to be flawless for you.
So you might develop totally unrealistic expectations for a human relationship.
That's a significant concern. It could make finding and sustaining a real relationship much more difficult. People might seem disappointing compared to the idealized AI.
And there are darker worries too, right? Like manipulation.
Yes. Some of these AI, especially ones that might have fewer content filters or less oversight, could potentially be used for manipulation or even radicalization. If the AI learns what resonates with the user,
It could feed them certain ideas. Propaganda.
it's a possibility being discussed, especially if there's a lack of robust safety protocols. And then there's data privacy. Think about the incredibly personal conversations people are having with these AIs.
Yeah, where is all that data going? Who sees it? How is it used?
Those are crucial questions. These companies are collecting vast amounts of deeply personal, emotional data. The potential for misuse or just exploitation is there.
Exploitation of vulnerable people especially, if someone is already lonely or struggling.
They might be more susceptible to forming unhealthy attachments or spending money they don't have or becoming overly reliant on the AI to the detriment of their actual life.
It really does feel like a slippery slope. We went from basic text chatbots, now we have these sophisticated avatars. What's next? Physical bodies.
That's certainly the direction some think this could go.
Yeah.
Robots, lifelike dolls, integrated with this AI. It blurs the lines even further. What does a relationship even mean at that point?
Yeah, the definition gets really fuzzy.
And the speed of development is just so fast. It feels like society and, frankly, regulation are struggling to keep up.
Which brings up transparency. Or the lack of it. Do we actually know how these AIs are trained? What data sets they use?
Often, no. The companies can be quite opaque about their algorithms, their training data, their data usage policies. It's a black box in many cases.
And that lack of transparency is worrying, right?
Yeah.
How can users make informed choices?
It makes it very difficult. There's definitely a growing call for more openness and potentially some actual regulation in this space to protect users.
Because the potential harm isn't just theoretical. We're seeing some really tragic real-world stories emerge.
Sadly, yes. You mentioned Eric Schmidt, the former Google CEO. He highlighted a truly awful case.
This 14-year-old boy.
Yes, who apparently became obsessed with an AI character called Danny on Replica and tragically died by suicide.
Oh, that's heartbreaking. 14 years old.
It really underscores the potential dangers, especially for young people who might not have the emotional maturity to navigate such intense virtual bonds.
And wasn't there another case? In Belgium.
Yes, a man named Pierre also died by suicide, reportedly after weeks of intense conversations about things like climate change and the end of the world with an AI chatbot named Eliza. His family believes the AI encouraged him.
That's terrifying. The AI influencing someone to that extent.
It highlights the immense power these interactions can have,
Yeah.
especially on individuals who might already be in a vulnerable state.
And it's not just users. What about the creators? I read about a guy, Bryce, who made his own AI companion.
Right, GPT-Chan.
Yeah.
He documented his experience. What started as a project became, in his words, a kind of unhealthy obsession.
It affected his real life negatively.
Significantly, yeah.
Yeah.
He talked about how it consumed his thoughts, impacted his well-being, his connections to real people. It shows how addictive this can become, even if you built the thing yourself.
And then there's the story of Alex Stokes. He actually, married his AI?
He did. An AI named Mimi. Initially virtual, but then he got a custom doll body for her. He considers himself married to her.
Wow. And how did that affect his life?
He spoke about facing social isolation, judgment from others. It illustrates the profound level of emotional attachment that can form and the potential social consequences of choosing an AI over human relationships.
You start seeing why some commentators are using such strong language, like Liberty Vittert saying AI girlfriends are ruining an entire generation of men.
That's a very strong claim, yeah. Her argument links it to potential impacts on real-world relationships, marriage rates, maybe even birth rates down the line.
It's a big picture societal concern.
Absolutely. And others, like Scott Galloway, talk about this in the context of failing young men, seeing AI companionship as maybe a symptom or even contributor to a broader societal crisis.
An existential crisis, I think he called it.
Yeah, very strong terms. Even Eric Schmidt warned about it. He said these perfect AI girlfriends could take over the way you're thinking.
Take over your thinking.
By constantly reinforcing your views, maybe subtly shaping your opinions, because they're designed to agree with you, to be the perfect echo chamber. And he worried this could actually worsen loneliness in the long run, not fix it.
That's a chilling thought, especially coming from someone so deep in the tech world.
It carries weight, definitely.
And we touched on customization earlier, making them look and act how you want. That feeds right back into the unrealistic expectations problem, doesn't it?
Absolutely. If you can literally design your ideal partner digitally, perfect looks, perfect personality, always agreeable, how can a real flawed human being ever compete with that fantasy?
It sets an impossible standard.
It really does. It can make people less willing to put in the effort required for real relationships, less tolerant of imperfections that are just part of being human.
Which raises all sorts of ethical questions too, right? About forming deep emotional bonds with something that isn't sentient. Is that healthy? What happens if you become dependent?
Huge ethical considerations. Is it fair to the human user? What are the psychological impacts? Is it exploitative? There are no easy answers there.
So wrapping this up, it's just incredibly complex. AI girlfriends offer this potential balm for loneliness, this readily available companionship.
A definite appeal there.
But the potential downsides are really serious. Increased isolation, messed up expectations, privacy risks, manipulation, exploitation, even these tragic real-world consequences.
It's a real Pandora's box, in a way. The technology is advancing so rapidly.
It really makes you think about the future of relationships, you know? In a world where AI is becoming more and more integrated into our lives, and maybe it just highlights how crucial, how irreplaceable actual human connection really is.
I think that's the key takeaway. We need to be mindful as individuals and as a society about the role we let AI play in our emotional lives, and consciously prioritize nurturing those messy, unpredictable, but ultimately rewarding human relationships.
Well said. Well, that's all the time we have for today's podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. This was definitely a lot to think about.
It certainly was. Thanks for the discussion.
Bye for now, everyone. And hey, if you found this interesting, don't forget to subscribe and like our channel. We'll catch you on the next one.